All right, today we are going on a bit of a road trip. We're going to map out exactly how to navigate this new digital world to get your company featured in ChatGPT's answers. This isn't just about SEO anymore, it's about being part of the actual conversation. So let's fire up the engine.
First things first, let's just talk about the sheer scale here, because this is not some quiet country road. In just 1 month, ChatGPT's website got 5.5 billion visits. Billion. I mean, that's more global traffic than giants like Amazon or Twitter. This is where your customers are right now, asking questions that you need to be answering.
That leads us to the big, scary question that's probably keeping a few marketers up at night. With all those people asking questions, if ChatGPT isn't mentioning your company when it talks about your industry, you're basically invisible to a massive, and I mean massively growing audience. You really have to think of this as a fundamental shift in how people get information. I mean, Gartner is predicting that by 2026, things like ChatGPT are going to divert a full 25% of clicks away from traditional search engines. The old roads are getting emptier, and there's a whole new digital highway taking over. So before we can even think about plotting our route, we've got to understand the map, right? How does ChatGPT actually decide who to mention? How does it navigate this just insane amount of information? If you don't get how the system works, you're pretty much driving blind. Understanding this is the key to everything else we're going to talk about. So it really boils down to 4 main ways it gets its info. First, there's its training memory. That's all the high authority stuff it learned before 2023, kind of baked into its brain. Second, it does real-time searches, where it actively uses Bing to look up fresh, current content. Third, tool calls. That's where it connects directly to specific data sources through APIs. And finally, and this one is so important, it uses consensus. Basically, it trusts facts that it sees confirmed on multiple independent websites.
Okay, now that we've got the map and we know the rules of the road, we can finally plan our trip. We're going to make 5 essential stops, 5 real, actionable tactics that are designed to get your brand's name right inside ChatGPT's answers.
Our very first stop is all about mapping, but we're not just looking for keywords. We need to build what's called a prompt constellation map. Think of it as the new, smarter version of old-school keyword research. And this slide, it really shows the huge shift in thinking. Classic SEO was all about building these keyword pyramids around single, lonely terms. But LLM SEO, that's about building prompt constellations. You're mapping out entire clusters of related questions that your customers are actually asking on places like Reddit or Slack. These AIs get context. They don't just see keywords.
All right, next stop, we have to start making our web pages extraction-friendly. This is so crucial. Large language models, they don't read articles like you and I do. They scan. They look for juicy chunks and quotes to pull out. So we have to make it easy for them.
And this table here lays out exactly how to do that. Simple little things make a world of difference. Like, look at this. Stat boxes and comparison tables, they often get pulled verbatim right into ChatGPT's bullet points. Using layered schema data is like giving the AI a direct hotline to your info via Bing. And get this last one. Just keeping your content fresh, updating it quarterly, makes it 3 times more likely to get cited. That is a massive edge. Okay, on to our third stop. This one is clever. We need to actually manufacture echoes. Remember how we talked about consensus weighting, that ChatGPT trusts things it sees repeated? Well, our job is to go out and create that repetition, that independent proof, all across the web. And you can be really strategic about this. You can publish your data as a SlideShare deck. Bing loves to crawl those. Syndicate a short article on a niche trade site. You could even just clip a 60-second video for LinkedIn, as long as it has auto-transcription, because that text becomes crawlable. What you're doing is creating this chorus of different voices all singing your brand's tune. Now, our fourth stop gets a little more technical, but trust me, it is incredibly powerful. Instead of just sitting around hoping ChatGPT finds you, you can proactively feed it your content by wiring up what's called a retrieval API. So what the heck is a retrieval API? Just think of it like your own private express lane, straight into ChatGPT's brain. You're not waiting in digital traffic anymore. You're literally handing the AI the keys to your latest, most accurate content through a direct pipeline. This makes sure it's not just finding your info, it's finding the right info straight from you. It's an absolute game changer. And for our final stop on the journey, measurement. I mean, you wouldn't drive cross-country without looking at your dashboard, right? It's the same thing here. You have to point some telemetry at your efforts to see what's actually working. So the takeaway here is you've got to track these metrics. What's your share of voice? Like, what percentage of the time are you actually getting mentioned for those really important prompts? When you do get cited, how deep is it? A whole paragraph? Just a few words? And are you sticking to that 90-day refresh cycle? Bottom line, if you can't measure your visibility, you can't manage it, and you'll have no idea when it suddenly drops off a cliff.
Now, of course, any road trip is going to have its share of bad directions and tourist traps. So let's just quickly bust 4 really common myths you're going to hear so you don't take a wrong turn.
Myth number 1. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Structured data, or schema, is basically the freeway on-ramp for Bing's crawler. If you skip it, you're stuck on the slow, bumpy side roads hoping for the best. It is not optional if you want to get there fast. Myth number 2. This is such old-school SEO thinking. Remember, ChatGPT pulls out little snippets and chunks. That means shorter, laser-focused pages that answer one question perfectly often do way better than one giant everything but the kitchen sink article.
And myth number 3, wrong again. Backlinks are still a huge signal. They tell search engines to crawl your site more often, and they build the kind of authority that gets baked into the AI's core training data over time. So yeah, they still matter a lot.
And the last myth, this one is the most dangerous. AI citations are incredibly volatile. They can be there one day and gone the next. So if you think your spot is permanent, you are setting yourself up for a nasty surprise. You have to be monitoring constantly. It is absolutely non-negotiable. So, as we pull into our final destination, let's just nail down the main takeaway. Getting your company listed in ChatGPT, it's not about getting lucky. It's about logistics. It's a systematic process that you can actually control. And here it is, your final 5-step logistics plan. First, you draw the map by building your prompt constellation. Then, you upgrade your vehicle with extraction-friendly content and schema. You plant signposts along the way by creating those echoes across the web. And you build your own express lane with a retrieval API. And finally, you never ever take your eyes off the dashboard, always tracking your metrics to stay on course. Look, if you follow this roadmap, your company stops being some random hitchhiker on the side of the road just hoping for a mention. Instead, you get to be in the driver's seat, directly influencing ChatGPT's very next answer. The journey starts now.